Good morning, welcome to our thought for the day on this wonderful Tuesday. We hope you've had a lovely weekend. Today Samuel is going to do our reading.
So today we're reading from Luke 13 and it's verses 10 to 17. And this is what it says. On a Sabbath, Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues, and a woman who was there who had been crippled by a spirit for 18 years. She was bent over and could not straighten up at all. When Jesus saw her, he called her forward and said to her, "Woman, you are set free from your infirmity." Then he put his hands on her and immediately she straightened up and praised God. Indignant because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath, the synagogue leader said to the people, "There are 6 days for work, so come and be healed on those days, not on the Sabbath." The Lord answered him, "You hypocrites! Doesn't each of you on the Sabbath untie your ox or donkey from the stall and lead it out to give it water? Then should not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, who Satan has kept bound for 18 years, be set free on the Sabbath day from what bound her?" When he said all this, his opponents were humiliated, but the people were delighted with the wonderful things he was doing. So before we share some thoughts, we're going to read you a story. So I hope you're sitting comfortably. Gemma's now going to read us a lovely story.
After 18 years, the woman could hardly remember any other way of seeing the world. She had gotten used to looking at people out the corner of her eye by looking up and sideways. On this particular Sabbath, there was a special excitement at the synagogue, where she regularly went to worship. A Galilean preacher and prophet had arrived in town and would be teaching there. She and the others in town had heard reports about how he talked about God's reign arriving soon and how he healed sick people. She was not sure how many of the rumours to believe, but she was trying not to get her hopes up. Her life already had too many disappointments to count. When she entered the synagogue, the place was abuzz. The man began to teach, however the room was hushed. Moments later, his words turned from teaching to an invitation. The man caught her eye, no mean feat given that he had to lean over and incline his head to do so. "Come here," he said to her. She slowly made her way to the front of the synagogue. What happened next amazed everyone. "Dear woman, you are free." As soon as the man spoke these words and put his hand on her broken, bent body, she felt power surge through her. Without hesitation, she straightened her once crooked back. She stood tall and praised her God.
So the story that Gemma just read, I found when looking up what to talk about today, and it really opened my eyes. I'd never really seen it like this before. The second half of the passage is very much focusing on the Pharisees and what they sort of thought about what had gone on. But when we look at the beginning and we look at the story that Gemma read us, we read about a woman who was ill for 18 years, being healed and completely transformed. We know of many stories of Jesus singling out individuals and engaging them in a way that transforms their lives. Jesus' power and compassion resulted in the man beside the pool of Bethesda being healed after 38 years of illness. Zacchaeus giving away half of everything he had and repaying back anyone who he had cheated. And of course the woman healed in today's reading.
So Jesus, in a busy synagogue, stops teaching and catches the eye of someone who may not have been looked in the eye for years and years. He calls her out, come to the front, and places his hands on her, and she's healed. In our Bible reading today, the Pharisees got caught up in the fact that Jesus healed on the Sabbath, and so much that they overlooked the fact that the woman was healed. Yet in all 3 of our examples, people missed the miraculous things that had taken place. The Pharisees missed the blind man and the crippled woman that were healed, and the crowd missed salvation coming to the house of Zacchaeus.
And so all of this really challenged me, and just to say, are there times that we miss what God is doing because we get caught up in our own human technicalities and human possibilities? It was certainly challenging for me to read this in this way, and so we'll just leave that for you to ponder over the course of Tuesday. So those are our thoughts on this wonderful passage. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Enjoy the hot weather that's coming up. And yeah, have a great day.
We'll see you soon. Bye.